Hello, everyone. I guess this will be for people that are coming in a little after the fact. How's it going? Just thought I'd hop in on here. My hair's getting a little crazy. Figured I'd hop on here and do just a catch up and just see how everyone's doing because it's been a little bit. I'll wait for some of you guys to hop on in. Hey, Silent Assassin. Yeah, I saw that Star Wars Theory. Saw the short film. That's really, really cool. Hello there. Hello there from a few of you guys. Hey, everyone. Braden Barker. How's it going? Holden, love the channel. Thank you so much. Holden, how's it going? It's going good. I'm glad that you're all here. Just I said it a little earlier. I just was going to do a little catch up, seeing how it's going, saying hi and everything. And it's been a long time since we've done a live stream. You'll have to settle for just me for right now. Jen's off running some errands, and I'm doing a little bit of work, and figured I'd hop on here. I had a little bit of time and wanted to say hi. Doing a little bit of a behind the scenes of the Star Wars short film, just kind of like how we made it, how much it cost, why we made some of the decisions that we made, and all that. And I'm very happy that it seems as though most people seem to have enjoyed it. And it's really hard to tell sometimes, but it was a lot of fun to make, and I'm just really happy that people seem to enjoy it. Are you going to do reacting to Batman the Animated Series episodes? Jen's actually seen quite a few of those. We haven't had any indication of doing them. Most of the TV shows we've been doing now have been on Patreon. We're almost done with Bad Batch, and then we're going to finish up the second half of season 2 of Invincible, and then we'll probably run another TV show poll for like Legend of Korra or whatever, yeah, Star Wars Theory liked it. It's really, really cool. It's like the short film that we did. Anyway, so I was filming a behind the scenes thing, and Devin's going to talk a little bit about some of the VFX work that he did, and basically how we made it with next to no resources. For those of you that are would-be filmmakers that want to make your own types of things, and how you can do it feasibly and realistically. Lisan Al Gaib, yeah. We have as of this, we filmed the second Dune Part 2, so that should be this week. So a lot of fun stuff there. Short film 10 out of 10. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Yeah, we'll be finishing Invincible. Will you be making more short films? Almost certainly. I just I don't think I could not be working on other things. Jen and I started this like little documentary prior to Hero being born even. And that's probably the next thing I'm going to finish before going off and like starting something from scratch. Holden, catching up on a lot of random My Girlfriend watches, so expect a series of late random likes. So thank you so much, Chris. I appreciate that. I've been watching since the beginning of My Friend Watches, and YouTube algorithm dropped you from my feed. So glad to see your things popping back up again. Yeah, me too. Thank you so much. I know that we've done a ton of we've done a ton of like the main movie series and things like that. So I'm just glad that people are still watching after all this time. When does the documentary come out? I have no release date on it. I haven't even so we filmed a good portion of it already, but I haven't even started really editing it cohesively at all. So, and we still have a little bit of work to do on that. But that'll probably be the next thing I'll go into like finish. Vader film was awesome, dude. Congrats. Well done. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Godzilla X Kong reaction when it comes out. When it comes out and it's released. Same thing with Godzilla -1. SDK reacts. I had a drunk guy ranting during A Force Awakens, so I understand your Dune movie theater experience. Thank you so much for that super chat, by the way, man. I appreciate that a lot. Yeah, that was one of the worst movie theater experience I've had. And also, the only other theater experience I've had, if you don't know what he's talking about, when Jen and I went to go see Dune, we had these kids like running up and down the theater for the first 20 minutes, like wouldn't stop. And it was really distracting. And we were totally lost 20 minutes in and left. And we ended up reacting to it this week on the channel. The only other movie theater experience I've had that's even comparable to that is when I went and saw Wonder Woman, the first one, back a few years ago. And there was just really obnoxious people like directly the row in front of me that were like on their phones, like their phone brightness like maxed out. And it was like a later showing. It was like a 10 p.m. showing. So that's when you get all the riffraff, I guess. But anyway, Holden, how many Spider-Man shirts do you own? I don't know. Probably too many. This is my Japanese Spider-Man shirt. Spider-Man. Um, would love to see more of your Patreon here on YouTube. You will gain more Patreon people if you show some of your older stuff here after it's been there for a year or two. We did that with Clone Wars. Clone Wars was originally Patreon exclusive. Right now on Patreon we have like the Bad Batch season 3. We have a couple of exclusive movies over there. Like Oppenheimer is only on Patreon right now because we just got claimed real bad from it, and like I kept trying to upload it, and it's Warner Brothers is notoriously difficult for us. So I ended up just stopped fighting with it. I'm just like, well, that's just going to be on Patreon. We have all of Invincibles on Patreon right now, and Jen and I we actually watched through Star Wars episodes 1 through 6, including Rogue One, like a rewatch for Jen, so because it's been she only seen them once forever ago when we did them, so that was like a good time for her after seeing Clone Wars and Bad Batch up to season 2 to kind of go back to the originals and watch them, and that's exclusively on Patreon too. I'm not trying to just plug Patreon this whole time. Just let you know kind of what's over there. Uh, Cinemillennial. I'm just curious. I'm working on writing a story for a Superman short film and was wondering how do you get around the problem of copyright when using characters that aren't in free domain? Well, so far the only thing that we have done, like with Star Wars specifically, because we use like Darth Vader, we're using like X-wings and Star Destroyers, and the X-wings and Star Destroyers are technically not from the movies. They're like small deviations, variations, but we can't really get around like Darth Vader and like Palpatine and that kind of stuff. And we use clips from the actual movies, and that was a big debate. Like, should we even include movie clips during like his whole, ethereal moment where he's like, "You've become the nightmare that kept you scared as a child." We use the actual movie clips, and at that point, I was like, "We're not making any money from this. We're already using copyrighted IP. At this point, we might as well just use the clip that I want to use because it is what it is. So there's no high. We're so deep in where we're at now, it doesn't matter. Anyway, so to answer your question, it really depends on the company and like the IP itself. Superman is owned by is DC, which is owned by Warner Brothers, so they might be I've never really had any problem dealing with like shorts or skits from DC or Warner Brothers. It's really just like their movie reaction stuff. But I would imagine the general rule of thumb is as long as you are crediting them, you're being very, very blatant and clear. You are not affiliated with them. And that varies in like scale and like convincibility of production value. Like we might have been able to pull off somebody thinking that our short film might have been actually from Lucasfilm, at least in a couple of scenes. If you watch long enough, you're like, oh, okay, this is a fan made production, obviously. But some of them I thought were, comparable. So the big thing that they're concerned about is that they don't want anybody thinking that you're actually like legitimately them. And secondly, you can't make any money from it. You can't crowdfund it either. Like we couldn't crowdfund the Vader short. I wish, to have actually had some like money designated specifically for that. So you can't crowdfund it, and you can't make any money from it. It's literally just taking your money and letting it, just getting rid of it. And if you do that, they'll generally leave you alone. They don't want you profiting from their IP. That's kind of their end goal, and they don't want anyone mistaking it for like an official production. Sorry, Zelda fan. Thank you so much for that super chat. I would love to see you and Jen react to some anime outside of DBZ, like Attack on Titan, Demon Slayer. I'm going to butcher that because I haven't said Kaizen or Chainsaw Man. Yeah, we probably will. I always put anime on the Patreon polls for the next TV shows for us to watch. I put Attack on Titan, I think, on every single one that we've done, as well as My Hero Academia, which I know you didn't list, but we've always put those on there. And it just depends on what wins. But we're getting close to our next Patreon poll for the next TV show because we're almost done with Bad Batch, and then we're going to finish the last 4 episodes of Invincible season 2, and then we'll be ready to go into the next thing. We're probably going to put Legend of Korra on there and a couple of those other like highly recommended shows like Fallout, which I would love to watch because I played the crap out of those games. But yeah, Bad Batch season 3 is all on Patreon right now. We're only 2 or 3 videos away from being done with the season. Any special? Hey, Mark, how's it going? Mark McKeever is one of the our longstanding subscribers here. Any special plans when you hit 300,000? I have not even realized that we've been getting close. We kind of stagnated for a while. I mean, it's just that it is what it is. Where we were still growing, but it like really slowed down. So I don't know. I don't know if I want to count my chickens before they hatch. We're still over 10,000 subscribers away from that number, so it'll be a little bit before then. But I appreciate you optimistically thinking. Pavidmeyer, been a while since the last live stream. Yeah, I was mentioning that before. You're kind of stuck with just me for right now. Jen and I are wanting to get into doing more of them because we really enjoyed them. It's a good opportunity for us to catch up and stuff. But so after this one, hopefully in the next week or coming weeks, Jen and I will both be on one. Just show Jen Dragon Ball at this point. Yeah, I'd love to. I was watching some Dragon Ball Z stuff for the Pop Culture Christian channel, the other channel I do. I was pulling some clips from that, and it was on, and Jen was watching some of it. I have not seen the new Planet of the Apes yet, and that was one that we were debating. Should we react to it? And I think that what we'll do is, for some of these movies that we just really want to see, and that we normally would like neglect to do a reaction for them. And sometimes it worked out if like we were just busy in life and we just weren't able to get to the theater. But if we can watch them and then do a reaction with them with Matt, because Matt never goes to the movies, so that way we can kind of get best of both worlds. We can watch it with everyone else, and also we can still react to it with our friend. The name of the Christian channel, the name of that channel is the Pop Culture Christian. It's been a minute. It's been a little over a month since I posted anything over there, and I'm not trying to plug that channel either, but that's very much when I can get to it, I'll post over there. And I have I don't know how you guys organize your lives, but I have like a written to-do list of like all of the video ideas, really specifically for that channel that I've just yet to get to. But they're growing. Holden, nice to meet you on the live streams, Josiah. I've been watching y'all movie reaction since last year. You have some good insights and perspectives. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I love movies, and we just like to have movies and like to watch them. Arcane, this is Mad Jokers. Arcane, we put on the TV show poll. It still has not really won yet. Godzilla X Kong's on digital. Says execute order. Not today. Okay. Godzilla X Kong. Still in theaters too, looks like, locally for me. Yeah, actually, so we reacted to nice. It's not on Max yet, but we reacted to Dune Part 2. I thought that was already on Max, and it's not. We had to get it from Amazon Prime and spend like a fortune. Rockstar, thank you so much for the super chat. Being a Godzilla fan, ever consider visiting the G-Fest convention in Chicago, Illinois? You guys would love it. I believe you. I was really into Pokemon Go when it first came out, like in 2016. I don't really play it that much anymore, but every once in a while I'll hop on there just to see what kind of new Pokemon there are, and I got quite a few legendaries, if I do say so myself. Anyway, they had their like Pokemon or Pokefest out in Chicago, and there was one year, I think it was like 2018 or 2019. I really was trying to go. I really wanted to go and do that because they had like geo-lockings, like you know, if you weren't actually physically there, you couldn't really participate, and they had cracked down on spoofing. Not that I would ever do that, but at the time, you know, they had cracked down on. I couldn't go out there physically, and anyway, all that to say, it didn't end up happening. But yeah, I would love to do events like that. Dune 2 comes out on Max next week. Yeah, so when we did Dune 2, we saw that it was, I looked it up and it was coming out like on the 20 something, but we'd already done the first part. And I know a lot of y'all feel like you end up having to wait a long time before the conclusion or whatever. So I was like, I just really want to get them both done, you know, relatively fast. So we ended up just buying the movie. Greg from Ireland, Greg McLaughlin, congrats on your movie. Thank you. It's good to see artists take risks. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate that. It was a lot of fun to make. I actually just shot a little behind the scenes video right before hopping on here, just sort of talking about how we did some of the things that we did, how we did it with essentially no budget, no money, and you know, how it's a realistic and feasible thing to do for people that really don't even have filmmaking experience. And if we're able to make that with, you know, free software and favors and with cosplayers, then, you know, the sky's the limit of things that can be done by just normal people now. And I think we demonstrated that in that short film. Not perfect, you know, there's some things that we probably could have spent several more months on cleaning things up and fixing, you know, various things here and there. But overall, I think we demonstrated that. Any plans to take Jen to see to San Diego Comic-Con? No, I mean, I'd love to go. I haven't even been, so want to hook us up with that. I hear that that's really hard to actually get into. Um, would you ever do live stream reactions to subscriber short films? Could be fun, and I'd love to participate. Actually, yes. So right now I'm streaming on a Mac, and one of the notoriously difficult things about Mac is to be able just to display the computer screen even through something like OBS, which is open broadcast software, but also be able to hear it. And so one of the things I've been having trouble finding a workaround to be able to hear the audio from the computer, and it also broadcasts that audio here. I know PC is much like more intuitive and straightforward with that than Mac is. But that's one of the reasons, like, I would love to just watch, have you guys live suggest things and just watch them live. A couple of super chats. Thank you guys so much. Just recommending for show and movie polls, Black Sails for shows, and Your Name to films. I think that's an anime, right? Two favorite media of mine, and I would love to see you guys watch. Well, thank you so much. Black Sails, I remember we got quite a few recommendations when we were doing Pirates of the Caribbean. So I would love to do that. And I think because Jen is a big fan of Vikings, I think we had a few people suggesting. I know it's not the same thing, but it's comparable, and some of it's like tone and style. And then Your Name is one I haven't even seen yet. I haven't had the chance to. Let's see. I saw the Karate Kid films on your Patreon vote. I hope that means one of these days you'll watch Cobra Kai, which is one of the greatest shows of all time, in my opinion. Yeah, I'd love to. I know, I don't know if you guys know my buddy Gus. He was, we did Blue Beetle together, and people hated the title. And anyway, he's been trying to get me to watch Cobra Kai anyway, because we were both really big fans of the Karate Kid together. And I remember when that was coming out, and I remember Gus was telling me a little bit about how I think they were a YouTube exclusive at first, as opposed to like Netflix or anything. And one of their reasonings for that is they wanted to be a kind of a big fish in a smaller pond of like YouTube originals when that was still a thing. And I think now they've been since bought and moved to a different platform. But anyway, when I think of Cobra Kai, I remember Gus talking to me about that kind of stuff. Josiah, thank you so much. Hey, when are you going to react to the Animatrix? Y'all need to watch that. It is an excellent animation. Jen will probably love it. I remember getting recommended for that when we did the Matrix stuff, and so I know that I would love to check it out, because that's one that even I have not seen. We are trying to increase our movie output. Devin typically edits like 2, and I've been going in and editing 1 now, to kind of average out going from 2 to 3 movies a week. So hopefully we'll be able to do more stuff like that. That's the plan anyway. If you see it like that, some week there's only 2, that's the plan. SDK reacts again. They had the AT&T issues come back. We've been pretty good. If you don't know what he's referencing, we've had just a history of issues with AT&T internet. But as of right now, we're still good. Would you be interested in watching Schindler's List? It's a great pairing with Saving Private Ryan, which you guys have already reacted to. Yeah. So the thing about Schindler's List, I think that Jen and I had actually started that movie kind of on our own time, because it's obviously really sad and movie, but it's one that I think I was showing Jen at one point, but I don't think we finished it. And you'll find that kind of to be a recurring theme in some of the movies that we end up watching and reacting to on the channel, of like, hey, some of these I was starting to show Jen, and then Schindler's List is like 3 hours long, I think, and I just don't think we finished it. I don't think we even got very far into it. Yeah, it's 3 hours 15 minutes long, and just never finished it. So anyway, all that to say, yeah, I would love to do that one. Godzilla -1. Once that comes on digital in the US, I got some comments of people saying that I guess other reactors have got like a VPN to stream it from overseas or something, but we're waiting for the US release. Hello, fellow Sam Raimi fan. I'm jealous you got to meet him twice. Yeah, really, really cool. They just announced a new director for the Evil Dead. It's like a real young guy, and I was like, man, how just let me try. I made this 20-minute Darth Vader short film for $17 and a box of yarn. Just give me a real budget and give me a team, and I'll make you whatever. Brad, yeah. So we, as far as Agents of Shield, I know you guys both love the MCU, the show. Yeah, we and this goes for that of the X-Men 97 reaction I see right below it. We will be putting them on the next Patreon poll. We put Shield up probably every single time, I want to say, or close to every single time. It's just never won. So we're just chipping away at those, slowly and surely. You definitely need to watch RRR. Yeah, Love from India. There's somebody, I don't know if he's still doing it, but that would spam RRR to us. And that's one that I was wanting to do with Matt. I don't think Jen would really, that would be her cup of tea, but something like that with like Matt or maybe some of the guys, we'd have like a lot of fun watching it. And uh, I know that that's a requested one still. Do I think Sam Raimi Spider-Man 4 will happen? Probably not. I mean, if we're being realistic, but never say never. I hope. I would love for that. Matt RR would be great. Yeah, we are trying to do a few more movies with Matt. Some more My Friend Watches stuff. Just the stars really have to align. That's really what it's all come down to. But we're thinking we might be on the verge of like this small window during like a specific time of a weekday where we could get together and film some stuff. And then hopefully if we do that, we can maybe bring Prime in to be able to do a couple things. And Prime's pretty busy right now. He's got his daughter and his wife is pregnant and they're about to have their second baby. And then Jeremy moved like an hour away. Of course, I'd love to have him. So Jeremy, for those of you that watch the Star Wars show, he did a little that kind of techie, it's not really techno, synth, electro music for the end credits. There's like the end credits, and then about halfway through it changes to this techno song. That was actually Jeremy that made that. Have not watched Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes yet, but I will be soon. Hey guys, longtime lurker here. Hello, glad to see you here. Come into the light. Have you guys watched Chuck, the TV series? I have. Jen has not, and I don't think I finished season 5. But that's Chuck is a show that I spent a good bit of time watching. I mean, I really got into it for quite a while there, and I really enjoyed it. I don't think I finished the final season, but I finished at least the season 4. If you could make an Evil Dead movie, where would you want it to take place? A cabin, a hotel, a hospital? I don't know. I have. It really depends. The last one did it in like this like apartment building. It really just depends on what I'd want to do with the story. I try not to get so caught up in like, I don't know, like the cabin or the hotel or a hospital, and more of like what are the Deadites doing? How are they getting unleashed? And then how do we trap our main cast, our protagonists, and what's like the most compelling place that they are. And the last one, it was like an apartment building that they couldn't get out of or something. There's that feeling of like being stuck and like that claustrophobic feeling, like maybe like underground or something. Maybe get stuck somewhere. Maybe they're splunking a cave and it's a old what do you call it? An old worshiping ground or whatever. That's how they unleash the Deadites, but they can't get out of the cave. And they're not only are there Deadites coming, but they're also running out of air too. I'm not saying I would do that. I'm just spitballing here. You know what I'm saying? I'm just riffing. Thought of showing Matt Neil Breen films. Oh, I would love to. If I were to do that, I would play it off as like, Matt, these are like my favorite movies ever. Like, I really hope you like them. I know they're a little rough around the edges, but they're really, really great, and just show him Neil Breen and just sort of let it just have me like, oh, no, are you serious? But I stay like deadpan about it. Yeah, somebody else told me that Godzilla X Kong is now available on digital. So, I got to watch those. I still have not seen that yet. Not on. I do have a Twitch, but I'm not on it. I'm not active, really. Your Top Gun Maverick vid with Matt is one of your best videos. Thank you so much. That was a lot of fun to do, especially because we went to the Naval Aviation Museum prior to that. Moonfall, yes, that's a guilty pleasure movie of both me and Jen. Love you, brother. You record Dune 2, watch it? Yes, we have. We have filmed Dune 2 already, and that should be out later this week. I did not get the chance to see the Spider-Man re-releases in theaters. I really tried to make it happen. I really wanted to go, but they were only, at least locally, they were only showing on like one weekday at like the most inopportune time. Because we have the kids and a baby, and it's really hard to leave at like 6 p.m. And we just couldn't make it happen. And they weren't showing enough for me to be able to work around that. And it's such a shame, but I did not get to see them yet. I know they're still doing, I guess, some of the Andrew Garfield ones right now, but I'm going to see the Lord of the Rings extended edition re-releases in theaters. Will you be going, Holden? I'd love to. Same kind of problem though, especially the extended editions where they're 4 hours a piece. But yeah, I would love to if I could. I don't know if I'll be able to, like, realistically. Have you seen the Arrow and the Flash CW shows? That's another one that's like Gus loves and has been trying to get me to watch. I saw the first season of the Flash and a couple of the first episodes of Arrow. Any chance of more live movie reactions, like for The Martian? Yeah, so Jen and I we've been talking about that. It's just our only real hesitation with that is just like copyright and like displaying the movie, even if we only do it like in this small corner of the screen and blurred or whatever, just for point of reference. And not only that, but when we did The Martian, we noticed that it was pretty much just like a regular live stream anyway, with just the movie in the corner. So we weren't really even reacting to the movie so much as we were it was on in the background while we were doing a live stream. So those would be just like our concerns right now. Thank you for that super chat. Alien movies, Fire in the Sky, War of the Worlds. Well, we've already seen War of the Worlds, and we've already watched the first 2 Alien movies. I did put on the last movie poll that Dune won with the DC animated multiverse movie universe won second place. I did put on there to finish the Alien films, and it just didn't win, to do like Prometheus and all that. As a Budokai fan, would love some Sparking Zero live streams. I hear you, man. I love that. We did some video game testing on Patreon again. Patreon is kind of like our testing ground for some of this stuff. But we did, I did some of the DLC for Dragon Ball Z Kakarot, because I was trying to get the audio dipping correct in the game capture stuff, because we're trying to go back over into doing games, and where we don't know if we're going to finish The Last of Us or if we'll just start something maybe a little bit more grounded for Jen to kind of hit the ground running. So anyway, I was testing out some of that over there, and I think we've got it pretty much set up. It's just a matter of us beginning and then scheduling out a time to do it and then doing it. Steve, thank you so much. Hey, Holden, love your reaction vids. Appreciate that. Mighty Duck reactions. Actually, it might be maybe the first or second recommendations for Mighty Ducks we've had. Shrek to more anime like Demon Slayer. I've been wanting to do Death Note with Jen, and we just have not had a chance to do that. Anthony with the $20 super chat. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate that a lot. Do you ever react to sports movies? A couple I would recommend is Air 2023. I saw Air on Amazon Prime. I never watched it though. And the Iron Claw, I know that just came out with Troy Bolton. I'm aware, obviously, you're a superhero, sci-fi, and animation fan. So do I. Yeah. There are some sports movies I love. I don't know the general consensus, but I was a really big fan of Radio with Cuba Gooding Jr. From back in the day. I watched Radio so many freaking times. And then Matt's been trying to get me to watch Remember the Titans. I haven't seen that one, but I was a big fan of Rudy as well. These are everything I'm saying is kind of older now, but yeah, I love them. And then you mentioned the Iron Claw, which I think is boxing. I was a big fan of Rocky, if you want to consider that a sports movie. And that's one that we still need to do on the channel too. Anyway, all that to say, we would react to sports movies. Absolutely. Thank you for that super chat, Anthony. I appreciate that a lot. I wanted to say that it has been fun watching you carve out this life you've made for yourself. You seem extremely happy. Keep it up and hope it continues. Thank you, Mark. Mark's one of our longtime viewers and members, and I appreciate that a lot, Mark. Yeah, he's been working all together, and this is honestly a really good lesson for just just social media and stuff in general, whether you're on Instagram or Facebook or whatever. Remember that everything that you see is what I present and what I see. What a lot of you don't see is, some days when the kids have meltdowns, when Hero's not cooperating. Here's my son is not cooperating, and we're having a rough morning trying to get the kids out, and everything's going wrong. Like, we don't show you that, obviously, and it's not for nefarious reasons. It's just we don't. So just remember that even in situations like where you're presented with something that looks like just this absolutely perfect life, it's very rarely the case. And so that's just a level of bringing down to reality that social media is not real life. YouTube is not real life, And so just I show you guys the happy stuff, but not always the other stuff. That's not I'm not saying I'm not. I'm very, very happy. I love my life. I wouldn't trade it for anything in the world. But just that those sobering moments to remember that we're still human too. You know, Jen and I are a real life married couple, and married couples don't always agree on everything, and we have to work to work it out. And kids are not easy, you know, a lot of the times. And but it's a wonderful life. But that's just segue into that. Anytime I have the opportunity to just remind people of that, because it's very easy. And this isn't just my opinion. This is backed up of seeing just like all the social media stuff of people that and you compare your life to them, and you're like, man, I wish my life my life was as good as Holden's. I wish my life was as great as Mr. Beast's, as PewDiePie, or as, you know, whoever. And just remember, it's not always as it appears. That's all I'm saying. You have a lot to be thankful for already. So I'm not trying to preach at everyone here. I'm just sobering thoughts here. Thank you so much, Mark, for that as well. Name coming soon. Thank you. Another super chat. People who don't play games is funny to watch. Getting my mom to play Spider-Man PS4, she couldn't figure out web slinging, so she just walked to Kingspin's Tower. That's hilarious. Yeah, we take for granted those of us that have played games for so long. You know, some of the things that just become the kind of like second nature. But it does take people that are brand new to learn that, to cognitively like learn, like spatial awareness. You know. I mean, even if you switch your controller, like if you play with like inverted or not inverted for, you know, looking up or down or whatever, you switch it, and it can be frustrating to kind of like teach yourself how to do it the other way around. So imagine that, but with every single button and controller. Another super chat. Thank you so much. Loved my wife watches Saving Private Ryan for July 4th last year. Have you considered watching Band of Brothers? I think we put it on a poll, but the and thank you so much for that super chat. I appreciate that a lot. We put I think Hacksaw Ridge we wanted to do for the 4th of July last year, and we just didn't end up having the time to do it. And I know that that's one that's been heavily requested. So that's probably a movie that we'll watch. As far as Band of Brothers, if it wins the TV show poll, TV shows are so much more of a commitment on our end, and it takes so long to edit through a season of a TV show. So we really have to be picky and choosy with those, even more than movies. So we really I let the patrons vote on what they want to see. Have you seen the new Marvel Rivals game? Yeah, they were actually going to sponsor a video and then backed out. So yeah, I'm aware of them. That is true. No, but no, I actually personally I haven't played it yet. And well, you said it was announced. I think I was going to get like an early access to check it out. But I am aware. It does look fun though. The frustration of watching my sister walking into a wall or looking straight up. Good times. Yeah. That's hilarious. Team America World Police for July 4th this year. Oh my, I've actually thought about showing Jen that movie. That's the South Park guys, you know. Oh my gosh, what a movie that would be. I don't think that Jen would find it funny at all, but I know that mixed with me thinking it's, you know, that type of inappropriate humor is funny when I probably shouldn't, mixed with my wife thinking it's the stupidest thing in the world, probably makes for some good content. Plans on X-Men 97. I know I personally want to watch it, but same kind of deal. If we'll probably be putting it on the next movie or on the next TV show poll on Patreon. Have you watched Shogun? No, but that was one that I probably will watch off camera if I'm being straight with you. I don't know if we'll do it for content, but I am very, very interested in checking it out. Holding his Vroom Vroom Pixar trilogy doing well in the Patreon polls. Those Patreon polls. It lost to Dune and to the DC animated stuff. So it was on there to do Cars. Show is 10 out of 10. Yeah, I've heard it's really, really good. Breaking Bad reaction. We've already seen it, both of us. So that was actually one that Jen was showing me off camera. Like when I met Jen, I had seen up to season 3, and then Jen and I restarted it, and then I finished it off. Will you keep watching MCU content? Yeah, MCU is no longer like a guaranteed hit anymore, not only for them, but also for the channel. So I still have not seen the Marvels. And of all of like YouTube reactors, I'm probably the most lenient when it comes to like Brie Larson and the Marvels, Captain Marvel and stuff. And I have not gotten around to it. When Hero was being born, that's when Secret Invasion came out, and as much as I love Marvel, I was loving spending that time with my son more. And so we actually got behind. It's like the first time that even I have been behind on the MCU since like 2008. I've never been behind on it. But I was like, yeah, I didn't see that. And I've heard the Marvels wasn't even good, as Brandon Snipe says. But regardless of like it not being good or not, I still like to just see it, and because it still is a part of the universe, for better or worse. What have I not watched from the MCU? That's a good question. I think it's just that. I think it's Secret Invasion and the Marvels. Let me know if I could be missing something there. It would be new, whatever it is. What are we on, phase 5 now? Yeah, we saw Quantumanium, we saw Guardians 3. We even saw the holiday special Guardians. We haven't watched Echo. That's right. Somebody else said Echo. We have not seen that. When Jen and I, when we were on our anniversary trip, I just posted a vlog when we went to Chichen Itza. I read this like 14-part thing called from Daredevil called it's Daredevil and Elektra, the Red Fist Saga, I think is what it was called. And that was really, really good. For those of you comic readers that want to see, let me see, Red Fist Saga, I think is what it was. Yeah, it was really, really great. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I loved it. So if any of you guys read comics, that's a current comic recommendation from Holden. Hi, Holden. Just here to say I appreciate your takes on God and the MCU, and the Pop Culture Christian channel. Would love to see more of that. Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, I mentioned earlier in the stream that those videos I really do when I just kind of get the chance to. Like on the main channel, we have kind of more or less a set schedule and like things that must get done. And there is kind of old school YouTube mentality of like I kind of got other things that going on, but I do make them, and I make them when I can. So there's no set schedule, but I'm constantly working on like things around it. I also mentioned earlier I have a bunch of like a to-do list of like different video themes and topics from pop culture, including Star Wars, Dragon Ball Z, and a couple other things that I want to do for that channel too. It's just a matter of having the time to do it. But I will. Oh. Love the Christian videos. Thank you guys. Appreciate that. Monkey Man. Yeah, Dev Patel. Check it out, please. Would love to see a reaction. We did a reaction to the trailer, and ever since the movie's come out, I have been loving. I would love to see it. Still have not seen it, but it looks really, really fun. And I think it would be probably right up my alley. What are your hopes for James Gunn's new DCU? Well, you guys saw the picture that just came out. I know how YouTube culture is and internet culture is, where people like zoom in on like every little aspect and crap on everything. I'm not really like that. I'm very much like, oh, okay, well he looks like Superman. His suit looks a lot like the Henry Cavill suit. Kind of in its color. It's like the way it looks, and I'm colorblind, and even I can kind of tell that it looks pretty similar. The only thing that ever caught my untrained eye was that it just looked like heavily padded, like the wrist was like pretty thick, and then it was like kind of warping up in the shoulders. But other than that, I'm kind of like, James Gunn seems to really love Superman, and has surrounded himself with like pretty big Superman fans, and he's a pretty good comic book filmmaker. He took D-list characters like the Guardians of the Galaxy and elevated them to A-list. So I'm cautiously optimistic, and that's kind of my go-to response with any current like pop culture thing, like any new Star Wars property, where it's just like, we've kind of been through this over and over again, but the premise seems cool. Dave Filoni can be kind of hit or miss, mostly hit, but he's had a couple misses recently, blah blah blah. But I'm optimistic. I'm going to give the guy a chance. And I think some people just kind of automatically write it off. It's not Henry. And I loved Henry Cavill as Superman. I thought he was great. But it is what it is. And I hope that they do him justice. I want a little bit more Boy Scout as opposed to kind of gritty Zack Snydery Superman. I think that Batman's a good avenue for that. I don't think it would hurt to have just a little bit more Captain America-esque, old school truth, justice, and the American way Superman in our culture today. Probably wouldn't be the worst thing in the world, in my opinion, of course. Will we get that? I don't know. Hey, Holden, Pensacola boy here. Hey, represent, love Vader, and recognize Fort Pickens. This is Fort Pickens, right? Yes, it was. I had actually never. So if you're not a Pensacola local, Fort Pickens is like this old, like Civil War military base fort, and they have like these little sections kind of strewn throughout. So even by like local standards, there's a lot of like that area like on the far ends of that island that nobody ever really goes to. And I was actually filming something totally unrelated when me and Prime stumbled upon this like underground like concrete wall thing. And I was like, oh my gosh, we could make this look like a Jedi temple. And I was already working on the Star Wars short film. And originally I was going to have the Vaders fight in the woods like every other freaking fan Star Wars film. But I was like, if I could elevate it from going from the generic woods to an actual Jedi temple, hey, that'll raise it up a little bit. So mixing them fighting in that underground area with some of the VFX exterior shots, I think sells it pretty well. Timothy Holden, I have this great story of mine that I've written, and if it ever gets turned into a movie someday, I'll make sure you are invited to the screening of it or something. Hey, I'll be there, man. Absolutely. I'd be totally down for that. Good luck, man. Good luck on your story. Do you have any more documentaries in the works? I really like the UFO one. Yeah, so Jen and I, we started a documentary prior to Hero even being born. And that project I was telling you about that we stumbled upon was actually for that. And we just, now that Star Wars is done, I'll probably go back and finish that one up before like straight up starting something new again. Yeah, so currently working on a documentary right now. What was the budget? What was the estimated budget for the Star Wars fan film, if I may ask? Probably around $2,000 to $3,000, roughly. And if I'd have to think about it, and that was not all at once. That was over the course of months, and that was like mostly buying like props and like the lightsabers we bought special, and that white outfit that the ISB guys wear. That we had to buy that custom fitted for him. The Vader suits were cosplayers, so I didn't spend any money on the suits, but I did pay them to be in it. So probably around there, $2,000 to $3,000. I saw Star Wars Theory reacted to it, which is awesome. So I was like, hey, we're getting traction. That's awesome. But I know his Vader short film, the lowest estimate I saw was like 30 grand to like as high as 150 grand. And I was just like, I would be lying if I said there wasn't some ounce of like jealousy of like, man, if I even had 30,000, just give me the low end, $30,000 to spend on something, on a film of any kind. Oh, man, the things we could do, That's why I joke that we made this Star Wars short film with $17 and a pack of gum. The story you told was in line with what is Star Wars. Oh, thank you so much, Squirtle Master Kenobi. Disney should hire you. I'd love to see more from you. Yeah, I mean, I'd take it. There are different expectations between like fan films and like official productions. As much as everyone says that they love the story and like kind of the route that we went, were that an actual like production or a movie or an episode of some Star Wars, Tales of Vader or something. I don't know. It may not have gone over the same way. And also the constrictions would be different. Like we are constrained in the sense that like we can't do anything we want because we just don't have the resources or the money. Disney has the money, but they have constraints of like studio. So like, even if I come in there and you're like, Holden, they should hire you and you should do this thing. And I could have a million great ideas for like things I would love to do in Star Wars. I think would benefit the overall story of Star Wars, things I think the audience wants out of Star Wars. And that could just be me. And then I pitch that or present that to get my $1 million budget for an episode, or $500,000 or $250,000, whatever. And then they're like, yeah, we don't want to go that route. We want to do this. We want to do that, whatever. And so they both have constraints, and we both have issues. And by the end of it, I'm presenting something to an audience that really isn't what I wanted to present, and then people hate it. But anyway, all that to say, if they were to do, honestly, if anybody, literally, if any of you are just like rich viewers that just sort of like, you know what, I have a short story I want to make into a movie, and I have $1 million, I'll make it for you. I'll make your movie, man. Heck yeah. Let's see. Hey, hope all is well. Just wanted to say your fan film was fantastic. I've never seen flying shots done that way. Very creative. Would love to see it behind the scenes or how to. Yeah, I actually just filmed a kind of a how he made it kind of thing to try to encourage some up and coming, like, would be, where do I start kind of mentality filmmaker stuff. A lot of those shots, those flying shots, were Devin. And I mentioned this. I mentioned this in the behind the scenes I've yet to edit and post. But like I wrote the script for it, and we did all the X-Wing dialogue and all that stuff. And I basically have like what I call mandatory shots, or like mandatory things that have to happen. 2 X-Wings flying towards the planet. Vader's chasing them right before Blue X-Wing or non-Luke X-Wing goes into hyperspace. Vader destroys it. Vader flies through a fire. Vader shoots down the second X-Wing. The X-Wing has to crash on the planet. So these are like the mandatory for the story. They must happen. And then outside of those parameters, I kind of just give it to Devin. And that way Devin feels like he has a sense of autonomy to it. So he can kind of create what he wants to create. He lets me know about problems. Like, hey, I don't know about, if we'll be able to kind of get this shot the way you want it to look. And so when we work on a workaround, or every time he would finish rendering a shot, or he would have like a previs render for it, he would show it to me, and then I would give notes on it. I would say, that's lasting a little too long. I don't really like the way that the ship moves there. It doesn't look real. And he'd go back in and fix it if needed. And but the one shot that got me, he had, was when they're going, and one of them looks like it like drifts and then stops and then begins shooting back at Vader. I had never seen that before, and it totally made sense within the sense of them being in space. Like, they don't have to constantly be moving like actual jets do. They can stop, and pivot or whatever, or rather, why couldn't they? And so when Devin pitched to me that shot of the X-Wing like sliding and stopping and then firing, I was like, heck yeah, dude, that's in. That's great. So I'll give credit where credit is due. That was Devin on that one. Holden, after your movie, do you have any other ideas that you'd like to create if you would have a larger budget? I mean, I've sort of, yeah, I've had a couple of different short, like, original ideas that I would pitch were the opportunity ever to present itself. The problem that I run into just in creating short films or whatever is just like knowing what I would even have access to. For example, in the Star Wars short film, we had a little post-credit scene of like a single Mandalorian that shows up and like looks at some of the Star Destroyers taking off because they're leaving the planet, and that was kind of it. Leading up to that, I was like, I wanted to write kind of something around that, and I was like, originally I wanted to get like a ton of Mandalorians. I would love to have just like a group of Mandalorians there, high production value, looking at it, looking at the Star Destroyers leaving, and then kind of fading away. And then we had the possibility of having maybe a Ventress cosplayer that's like present there, and since the Bad Batch kind of had her sort of come back, it would make sense somewhat canonically. But like Ventress being there, and I was like, oh, that would be so cool. So, but I can't write around any of that stuff. I can't write lines for Ventress or lines for some of these Mandalorians if I don't know for sure that I actually have them. And come the day of, I think I only ended up being able to get 2 Mandalorians, and on the day of, one of them couldn't make it. So then we just had the one, and it still worked out because we do what we got to do. But had I like put my heart and soul into writing this small scene with Ventress, or Ventress and a handful of Mandalorians, or whoever I could get my hands on, only to not be able to do it, can be pretty disheartening. And to do that on a macro scale for short films is difficult, which is why most of our short films really only consist of a handful of people at a time that I use movie magic and trickery to make look like they're all there simultaneously. when really the only people we had simultaneously were just those two Vaders fighting ever. Vader was not actually talking to a Palpatine actor at the same time. You know what I mean? Anyway, if I were to actually do a movie where it's like, okay, this is an official production and I can write really whatever I want to write within the constraints of a predetermined budget of like, $100,000, 300,000, a million, whatever. I would have a field day. I wouldn't even know what to do with that. You're telling me I can write whatever I want to write, knowing my constraints and whatever, but wow, I couldn't even imagine. The one shot of single Mandalorian felt epic. Yeah, I mean, you make do with what you got. I think I still got a pretty awesome shot, or awesome little thing there with him. But we make do with what we have. Just get into contact with A24, their studio that gives freedom to the filmmakers. Yeah, I wish. I don't know anybody there, or really even how to reach out. Most of these, I have looked into stuff like that. Like how do you even like contact like Universal Studios to be like, hey, I can make something. And most of them, including A24, don't even accept solicitations. And even if they did, I would be one of thousands, tens of thousands. So that's really like with anything in life, it's really who you know. And unfortunately, I live in Florida, and Northwest Florida at that. I have no movie connections at all. Well, this has been fun. I appreciate talking about the short film. I appreciate that. I'm just glad people liked it. We whenever I do a Star Wars short or anything Star Wars related in particular, I kind of let the cast and let Devin and I chat about it, and just being like, hey, we just got to be prepared for people to hate this. They may not. Star Wars is so tricky to get right, where you want to, just as a creative, want to introduce something new, but you can't introduce something too new that undoes anything. And you want to show things that they've never seen before, but you can't let it contradict things before. Or like in the case of like Force healing in the sequel trilogy, where, hey, it's cool that we're showing new aspects of the Force, but like, why couldn't they do that before in like the prequels with Qui-Gon or, literally anyone else, so it's really hard. It's really hard to actually do that cohesively. And so we're showing like, okay, this is an area that's strong in the light side of the Force that's never really been done before. We're having some of the X-Wings go in these dogfights, and they're doing some maneuvers we haven't really seen before. So we were absolutely prepared for people to hate that. The only way I know to get studio watching is to submit to film festivals. The film Talk to Me, made by two YouTubers, was submitted at Australia Film Festival. Then they got emails for studios like A24. Yeah, I'd love to do that. I'm not opposed to trying to do that. It's hard because with something like a film festival, you have to fund an original feature film on the front end, and with no prospects of making money on the back end. So that's utmost respect for the people that can do that, but that's hard to do. If I were to go right now and be like, okay, I want to make a full-length feature film, I'm going to self-fund it, which automatically means I can't do a whole bunch of different things. I'm going to make it, and then if I were to even just like put that on YouTube to my subscribers, it probably wouldn't even really do all that well. So then I'd submit it to a film festival with like the hopes that maybe I'll be able to. That's tough. That's tough. I'm not saying no, and creative people are going to, make their stuff anyway. But it's hard to like get funding for something like that, because even if I was like trying to crowdfund, like, hey, I have this movie I want to make and I need $500,000 to make it. There's no guarantee that the funders would make their money back or would get anything out of that, and that's tough. Golden Light Pictures, question about a different fan film. Did you need to get permission to adapt a Batman and Innocent Guy as a fan film? Same kind of rule of thumb I used on the others. It's not monetized. I can't make any money from it. And we made it very, very exceedingly clear that we're not a part of Warner Brothers or DC. So I haven't had any issues with it since then. And we even showed it to the writer, Brian Boland, who wrote that story. A lot of people shared it with him and got feedback from him, and he seemed very happy with it. Granted, he's the writer and not the owner, but I hadn't had any problems with it. WGA membership, make a portfolio, submit your scripts, possibly find an agent. that's how I got my show looked at, and you can make spec scripts of IPs. Oh, very cool. Yeah, there's a lot of things like ways to do it. There was a period of time. Excuse me. There was a period of time even. Oh, thank you for that super chat. I appreciate that. Where Jen and I, we were looking to like move to Los Angeles or move to Atlanta to like pursue the dream of being a film. And I just well, to be quite frank, I don't think I'd fit into the culture of Los Angeles. I'm just not. I'm not that self-absorbed, to be quite frank. And then Atlanta, I don't. Atlanta's not too far from me as it is, but that's kind of got its own set of issues. And really moving to any like big major city with our children, I'm very, very hesitant about. And it's not out of the question, but it would just have to make sense. Like LA is just so expensive. Atlanta is like a good bit more expensive than where we're at now too. So it's just difficult. Yeah, I could check into. I could. There's probably more due diligence on my end that I can do. If I was like really set out, like, hey, I really want to make a movie, and that's just what I want to do. I want to make one, But I'm pretty happy with where we're at right now, and there probably will come a time when I'm going to be like, you know what, I'm ready to make a movie. Please tell me you're going to react to Invincible. It would be cool to see you guys. Yeah, we have. It's on Patreon, man. It's on Patreon, Lucas. The only thing we haven't done from Invincible is the last 4 episodes of season 2, just because they were recently released, and we're finishing Bad Batch season 3. But yeah, all of season 1 and the mid-season finale of season 2 is already on there, available for all patrons. When can we expect to see Dune 2 reaction? Will be later this week. Would you consider reacting to Attack on Titan? We've been putting it on the Patreon polls, and it just has not won yet. Let's see. Any other questions or anything, guys? We don't have to make. We don't have to talk. Short filmmaking if you don't want to. We could talk anything you want, really. Would you ever react to Dragon Ball? Yeah, I would love to do that. I'd love to do that with Jen. I think we've even put Dragon Ball Z at least on the Patreon polls. Am I excited for the Mandalorian and Grogu movie? I hadn't heard about a Grogu movie, but I did hear that Dave Filoni was supposed to be spearheading a new Heir to the Empire movie. Kind of my feeling just in general towards the Star Wars stuff. And I feel like I enjoy it more than probably most other people. Like I really liked the Ahsoka show. I thought it was really good, but I get like some like people's criticisms about maybe all the characters kind of being kind of one dimensional and whatnot. Like so, I agree with a lot of the criticisms while still being able to enjoy it for what it is. So I'm. I don't know. I want it to be good so bad. I want these movies to do really well and to unite the fans. And so I'm looking forward to it. Cautiously optimistic, though. Do you have any this one man reaction faction? Do you have any good name, by the way? Do you have any plans to attend more Comic Cons in the future? I recommend Fan Expo in Dallas. It's pretty good every year. Yeah, I mean, any of the cons I can go to, I usually do. I went to the Fan Expo in Louisiana. What is it? New Orleans, because it's like a 3-hour drive roughly from where I'm at. So yeah, I would love to do more. Jon Favreau is directing a Mandalorian movie called The Mandalorian and Grogu, releasing in 2026. I love Jon Favreau. I think that he's great, and so I would have hopes that would be good. Hopefully it would be. The lightsabers you used, were they CG or real props? They were real props. Yeah, we actually I had to order both of those. So Vader's was an actual replica of Darth Vader's, and then the Anakin Vader was Vader's, but a solid black. I mentioned earlier in the stream, I didn't want it to be Anakin's lightsaber. I didn't want it to be Darth Vader's lightsaber. I wanted it to kind of be unique to my own fan film. It was Darth Vader's, but a solid black to differentiate the two. I think I have them in my closet. Let me see. I do. Oh, yep, I do. Yeah, all these props that you're saying, like the helmets are just like sitting upstairs. But here's the they're both dead too. But this was Darth Vader's lightsaber here. Ooh, it's cool. This is the belt piece so it can um, hang on to his belt. It comes off, and this goes on the waistband. And then this was the Anakin Vader one. So same kind of deal. I feel like Star Wars theory. I know he's like making his own sabers and stuff now, but same thing, more or less. Just and this one glows white. And we had to. It's one of the things that we spent on the budget for it. I was debating trying to try to recuperate some of my money from that and being like, maybe would anybody want to buy one? You guys want to buy some lightsabers that were in the short film? They work. They still work. They light up. JM, thank you so much. I love the content as always. Sorry if this was asked. Do you plan on watching Shin Godzilla? It's probably the creepiest version of Godzilla. Yeah, actually, yes. I don't know. I don't know if we missed kind of the wave of the Godzilla stuff, but I was really wanting to do Shin Godzilla for sure because I had not seen it, and I was such a big fan of Godzilla -1. So I kind of like the old school, like Godzilla's like scary kind of feeling. Where did you find animators for the little alien? Good question. Yeah, so in my Batman behind the scenes video I did prior to me doing the little alien, I talked about going to Reddit and just like seeing the creators that are either on like the Blender subreddit or VFX subreddit, and then like seeing somebody that has some work on there. Then they're usually pretty forthcoming about showing their stuff, and then just messaging them and just like asking them if they'd be willing to work with you or whatnot. So anyway, I found a guy that animated something on there, and it was exactly what I was looking for. And I messaged him and introduced myself, and these people don't know me, and just kind of told him exactly what I wanted to do. And I'd already scripted, not scripted so much as like bullet point of individual shots, pretty much a storyboard, but just in descriptions of the little alien. And was like, hey, these are all the shots I want to do. It's not very long, but it is tedious. We have to create all the assets and stuff. Would you be willing to do that? And we just got to talking and we worked something out. Yeah. So that's how I did that. And he did a fantastic job. I find a ton of my opinions about movies, shows, religion, and other things match with yours. It's really nice to have someone on here that does that. Thank you. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I'm glad you watched and enjoy. I appreciate it. Maybe how much? I don't know, man. They weren't cheap. They're probably like $200 or something. I'd have to look. Maybe they were more than that. I'll just sell them at cost. I don't know. I'm gonna look up, see if I can find my old receipt. I think these are Ultra Sabers, which Prime informed me of, are like not highly considered among Star Wars people. I'm trying to see how much these were. I'm trying to see how much these sabers were while I'm doing that. Let's see. Have you ever thought about doing scripts as the what ifs that Disney made, but with your own creative ideas with Star Wars movies or any type of movie? Like, what if Obi-Wan lost on Mustafar? I would love to do something like that, man. I've not thought about doing. I have not thought about doing them like practically or realistically or anything, but I would absolutely do something like that. I'm trying to see. You want to see a look into my budget here for this? I'm trying to find like my confirmation order. This would have been forever. This was 2022. I got these. That's how long we'd worked on this thinking thing. Order number, whatever. Yeah, one red. Come on, they didn't put the price on that one. Let's see. I don't know if anybody even cares about this. Good thing about when I ordered these, though, I spent enough that where they sent me like a free like cheap one. I can't find it. It would have been probably like $200 or something like that for one of the sabers by themselves, if I were to guess. Yeah, I know a lot of people really get into the what if storylines of Star Wars and Marvel, and those are fun. I for a period of time I was actually watching a couple of people do what ifs to like Dragon Ball, like Dragon Ball Z. Like what if the Z fighters stopped Majin Buu from hatching out of the egg or whatever. So a lot of it is just like, I mean, it's just fan fiction is what it is, and fan fiction can vary from story to story. So that's so what you're asking me is, have I ever considered making fan fiction into live action? And the answer is not really, but I wouldn't turn it down. Oh, let's see here. Yeah, I honestly couldn't tell the difference between Anakin's original lightsaber hilt and the obsidian colored version thereof until you revealed it just now. That's nice. Yeah, I mean, you don't want too much of the attention to be on it. I think we had one singular shot on light side Vader's saber that was just solely on the saber. And I don't want it to take away anything either. So, uh, Clement, thank you so much for that super chat. Looks like you had a comment right above it. Hey, Holden, huge fan since your earlier videos. Have you or your family seen the re-release Spider-Man films? And if so, which one has provided the best theatrical experience? I did not get to watch them. What somebody else asked this earlier in the live stream. I did not get to watch them in theaters, unfortunately, and part of the reason is because of the time and like the date that they were playing, being like on a weekday, right when like we're at the most hectic at my house with the kids and the baby, and we just couldn't end up making it work. Jen and I actually were getting back from our or had just left or something like that for our anniversary trip right when Spider-Man 1 came out. So back in theater. So we weren't even in town when the first one came out, and that's such a shame. I would have loved to have seen the Raimi ones. But anyway, thank you for that super chat though, man. I appreciate that a lot. Theory saber. No, these were ultra sabers. They were not theory sabers. I did see that Star Wars Theory reacted to the short film, which is really, really neat. Really, really cool. I'm glad that a lot of you guys were watching the Dune reaction as well. Just happy that you guys have been enjoying some of the stuff we've been doing lately. Let's see. Favorite Dragon Ball saga? Probably the OG Super Saiyan versus Frieza battle, like the Namek Frieza saga stuff. I love that stuff. Followed closely by the like Super Saiyan 2 Gohan Cell stuff. And really, I mean, it makes sense because those are the conclusion to those big arcs. You know, the Saiyan saga was a precursor to the end of uh, Frieza stuff. You know, we're introduced to the alien Saiyans and Vegeta and all this backstory with Frieza being this pinnacle of evil and power, and then the end of that, concluding it, had Frieza actually died. You know, of course, and the legendary Super Saiyan revealed that Vegeta mentions early on in the first season or the first Saiyan saga. And then when we start with season 4, 5, and 6, where the android stuff and Trunks and all and Cell, same kind of deal. All this stuff with Ginyu, not Ginyu, Dr. Gero, since Dragon Ball, following Goku and examining his fights and his techniques and his power, and seeing the Saiyans show up for the first time, and having this like personal vendetta that led to the creation of the androids, and then Cell. All that makes sense to me, and then seeing the culmination of Dr. Gero's greatest creation, Perfect Cell, being undone by Goku's child, his son Gohan, who also achieves this next step in Super Saiyan transformation. I gotta love that too, man. I love that. And then Majin Buu, where it's a little bit more, it's a little bit weirder with like this like pink gum creature named Boo who turns people into candy. But we get a lot of like further Super Saiyan fan service where we're seeing Super Saiyan 3s and we're seeing fusions, and we're seeing all this really cool stuff. So there's pros and cons to all that. All that to say, I love all of Dragon Ball Z. Yeah, Jameson Smith. So pretty much all of it. Yeah. But if I were to say I had like a favorite saga would probably be the conclusion of the Frieza saga. Are you excited for Deadpool and Wolverine? Absolutely, 100%. Are there any Star Wars species that you would love to include in a short film of yours? Yeah, we almost had a Twi'lek in this short film. A couple things that we did not get to do. Do you remember the Death Trooper that showed up? He kills the kids. We were originally going to have him set the kids on fire. There's an old video of mine. You can look it up. I'm gonna see what it's called, where we had a flamethrower. Yeah, yeah. It's called Someone Let Me Use a Flamethrower. This is back in 2019. And me and like Matt went out and we're playing around with this flamethrower. And when we were going to film the scene with the Death Trooper, I reached out to that guy and I was like, "Hey, could we strap this flamethrower to the Death Trooper and have him set these kids on fire?" Not really, of course, it would be safe and everything, but um, and he was like, "Yeah." So we were all going to go do that. And then the day of, he was like deathly sick and couldn't make the day of the shoot. And that's one of those things, man. Things happen and you got to carry on. So our solution was just have him shoot the kids. And also, killing the kids or setting them on fire wasn't just because structurally and story wise, it was supposed to show that Vader is still like really bad at this point in time. Like he's like still evil, to help contrast that with like they're still good in this guy, to show. And that's not out of Vader's character. He was killing kids when he was right when he turned. He destroyed Alderaan, which is I'm sure was full of kids. So it's not out of character for him to order the death of these children that were just like snooping around. But then like I wanted him to do this like really horrible evil thing right before being confronted with the good Anakin inside of him. Wanted to set the kids on fire. Fun story. Those kids are actually Alex Goff's kids, the guy who plays Darth Vader. So they had a lot of fun with that. So those are Darth Vader's kids that we killed on camera. Yeah. Yeah. Otherwise, yeah, gotcha. Otherwise, I found that moment a bit cold. Yeah. I mean, yep. You just wanted a Twi'lek in the film so you could paint Jen, didn't you? Wouldn't have been Jen. I'm not going to give you guys that one. That's just for all holds. He snapped a kid's neck in Obi-Wan. Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. Had too many of them. What are we going to do? Oh, yeah, great moment in the Majin Buu saga when Vegeta becomes Majin Vegeta and has like that relapse of his old character and who he used to be, and he's just like all this resentment. He's like, I used to be the strongest warrior. I used to be the perfect warrior. I gotta look it up. Vegeta. I used to be the perfect warrior, cold and ruthless. I lived by my strength alone. But over time, it chipped away and become complacent, and he had a family, and he like hated that. I wanted him to turn me back to the way I was before. Yeah. That's one thing you'll never understand, Kakarot. No, not you. A true Saiyan has pride. And all that. How you like that? This flashback of me doing that. What do you know of meaningless? Yeah, exactly. What's up? I'm killing time before being Spider-Man at a party in 10 minutes. Lucky kids, man. Way to keep Spidey alive. Any update on your Spider-Man fan film? Oh, good Lord. Yeah, production hell, that one is. Talk about VFX is much harder to pull off Spider-Man like swinging and stuff. And we started that like prior to COVID. And so the only recent development is that I had let the Spider-Man actor borrow the Spider-Man suit for Halloween or for some Halloween party prior to it being finished being filmed. But I just let him borrow it, and he ended up losing the suit. And that suit was not cheap. That was a custom-made suit, and so I straight up I just can't afford to get another one, and so we do not have the suit to finish the short film. because of that. So moving forward, and honestly, this might be a blessing in disguise because I was overall unhappy with quite a few things from it. Um, uh, so a handful of things. Honestly, when I would looking back at it, and this is one of like the first uh, one of the first things that I was trying to do that was like in short film format, like Vader was, like directing actors and scenes and directing people really. I wasn't really thrilled with just the storyline. If I thought it, and I wrote it, so I'm criticizing myself here. I thought it was a little too basic, a little too bland. I wasn't crazy about some of the performances. We ended up losing the suit anyway. And not only did he lose that suit, we had two suits. I made two of them specifically to have one be battle damaged and one be the suit that he wears. So I was not happy about that. I'll put that lightly, but this might be a blessing in disguise. So moving forward, I was thinking about adapting something that was a little bit more manageable on my end, because there were some sequences that were probably out of the realm of doing it. So there's a specific comic that I was thinking of adapting from Spider-Man, and I have scripted out already. Let me see. So it's already scripted, but it's just a matter of, do I want to try again with Spider-Man, basically. Yeah, I would lose it. Yeah, I was not happy. I was not happy about that. But I mean, what can I do? I can't look at. I know that you got people like Mr. Beast and these people that make a ton of money on YouTube. You know, we're able to pay our bills, but I'm not Mr. Beast. I can't be spending $300, $400, $500. Flimsily. Join my Patreon. Help us get a new suit. So we were actually looking into a new suit, different actor, different Spider-Man actor. The guy who played the innocent guy in the Batman short film. Huge Spider-Man fan, and really wanted to bring him in as Spider-Man moving forward. And we were looking at just a ton of different Spider-Man suits. We don't want anything that's like been in the movies. We don't want anything that's too different. We want like the classic look, but with the unique feel to it, And we had a variation of a couple different ones, but for everything that we wanted for it to look really, really good, we want it to look good. The cheapest one I think that we were in the range of was like between $400 and $600, which still is not that bad in the scheme of like suits, like good looking suits. But it's just a matter of like, let me get a little further along before I throw that money down on a suit. I don't know how you do it, man. I'm in college. I've directed 2 shorts. Long story short, it's bad. I much prefer editing people's projects. Hey, Nathan, I mean, honestly, we do use editors from time to time. I don't know if it would be anything fun like short film stuff, but like I had one of the guys who is one of my patrons, JP Longmate. He edited the interview I did with he interviewed the editor. He edited the interview I did with the Spider-Man editor. So he edited that. I went back and like touched it up a little bit. But that's not out of the question. If you want to shoot me a message, I paid him for that as well. I don't know if it may not be like, I may not be able to shoot you like hundreds of dollars worth, but I try to make it roughly worth, So like when I solicit for editing for like a regular movie reaction, I try to I'll calculate how long it takes me to make, how long it takes me to edit one. And then I figure in people who have not edited that before. There's a little longer time. Like I've been doing it for a long time. It takes somebody else new, probably a little longer. And then I try to kind of say, okay, it'll take 8 hours. So I'll budget for like $20-$25 an hour. If you were to go the full distance, if you edit it in half that time, you still get the money kind of deal. That's usually how I finagle it. And some people I've had some people be very agreeable to that, and they can knock it out quickly. And, that's great. And some people are like, I don't get out of bed for less than $500. I'm like, I can't, I don't even make that on the video, man. I can't do that. Anyway, that's a little behind the scenes. I get a general behind the scenes for everyone there. How can you lose 2 suits? Yeah. Did you play? Sorry, Mohammed. I didn't mean to overpass your super chat there. Did I play Spider-Man 2? I absolutely did. You know what? Here's another story for you. I actually recorded the last hour of that game of me playing the finale, like the final sequence and all that. I used my Elgato game capture card to film the whole thing, and I was going to have it be like a special video. of being like, hey, I know I didn't play through the whole game and I probably wouldn't have been able to have been consistent with that anyways, but I did want to show off like the last mission, last level, have some fun. And I had all kinds of issues with the game capture card. It like errored out, like the file was corrupted. And so that's why I went back in and totally revamped my entire game recording setup. And on Patreon, I did like a couple tests of like what's called audio ducking, where when I speak, the game audio goes down. And when I stop speaking, it goes up to kind of edit it in real time a little bit. And I did a kind of a test through with one of the DLCs for Dragon Ball Z Kakarot, actually. So yeah, I actually did record and film that portion of Spider-Man 2, and that's one of those videos that never came to light. Have you ever thought of the idea of starting a podcast with Matt, kind of like Mr. Sunday Movies? Yeah, absolutely. We've done things like that. We've never done it with any level of consistency, but we have done like little shorts that are kind of podcast style. The biggest thing is really just scheduling. Matt and I currently are trying to get on some type of regular schedule where we can meet up like once a day or once a week to do a My Friend Watches, or have me, Matt, and Jen, or me, Matt, Jen, and Jenna all do videos, or maybe eventually be able to have Prime come back and have Jeremy do some stuff like that. But anyway, it's just a matter of scheduling. It's what it's always been. So the prospect of producing like a podcast weekly might not be within either of our purview currently. Season 4 of The Boys next month. Yeah, super excited for that as well. Let's see. I heard Tom Holland's Spider-Man 4 is going to feature Black Cat, but I think Andrew Spider-Man would be better for Black Cat, especially since Felicia Hardy was in the Amazing Spider-Man 2. Yeah, I mean, Amazing Spider-Man 2 set up so much like potential world building. I mean, they literally teased the Sinister Six. I was joking so much. After No Way Home, Sony could literally produce, I don't know, it's never been done before, so maybe that's why they don't want to do it. But they could literally produce Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 3, The Amazing Spider-Man 3, and continue their Tom Holland deal with Marvel Studios. And I literally joke that line from Spider-Man No Way Home that Green Goblin says, where he's like, strong enough to have it all, too weak to take it. Like they could give us everything. The audience knows we've done the multiverse thing for years now. We know that you can have these multiple Spider-Man movies and them not be interconnected in that regard. You know, I don't know. I guess Sony's just afraid of money, I guess. Instead, they're making Morbius and which is whatever, and what's that movie? Madam Web. Instead, they want to make those. Yeah, they're too busy making Madam Web and Craven instead. Yeah, and look, I'm not even opposed to that. I like Spider-Man properties, but they're just it's like they're going like this weird discount route where they don't want to fork up the money to create like a quality Spider-Man 3 or Spider-Man 4 or Amazing Spider-Man 3 or whatever, but they want to just like, I don't know, pittily throw something at Madam Web, hoping the name recognition gets people to buy the tickets. So I don't know what they're thinking. I don't know what they're doing. I'll make Sony, if you're watching, I'll make something. You give me whatever the budget is. Give me whatever budget you want and tell me you want what's an obscure Spider-Man character. I'll make it. Shoot. Video Man is an incredibly rare character that made an appearance in Across the Spider-Verse. I'll do it. I'll make a Video Man movie for you, man. Calypso, a love interest of Craven the Hunter. Spider-Side, a clone of Spider-Man who can shapeshift and alter his density. I'll do it. Sony, just give me a number and I'll make it. You want $1 million movie? I'll make it. You give me and my team here, you give us $1 million, we'll give you a feature-length film of Webbeard, a pirate version of Spider-Man who wears a beard over his mask. Whatever you guys want, I'll do it. Okay. The Spectacular Spider-Man is on Disney Plus. Very cool. Big Wheel, directed by Holden Hardman. Oh. Webman, a clone of Spider-Man created by Dr. Doom. Spider-Wolf, a Spider-Man with werewolf powers from Earth 13939, the werewolf dimension. I'll do it. I'll do it. Just somebody give me a budget. Somebody give me a budget. Pirate Spider-Man. What did I just log into? That's hilarious. Dylan, thank you so much for that super chat. Hey, Holden, sorry if this has been asked already. I just got here. Any chance? I just got here, but any chance we'll get to show Jen Dragon Ball Z? I know there's always copyright problems, but I think Jen would love it. Yes, absolutely. I really want to show Jen Dragon Ball Z. We were talking about Dragon Ball Z earlier in the stream, but I'm kind of like what I said then. I always put it on the Patreon polls. And Dragon Ball Z in particular would be a huge commitment for us. I mean, we're talking 290? How many episodes? I'm going to say 294. Let's check. Oh, test me. How many episodes of DBZ? 291. Dang it. If we include the movie specials, Bardock, History of Trunks, and one other movie special, I would have been right. But anyway, so all that to say, it would be a huge commitment for us, and I do put it on the polls, and I would love to watch it. So anyway, thank you so much for that super chat, Dylan. I appreciate that a ton. Garfield, I'm not the werewolf. I put Attack Manuel. I put Attack on Titan on the Patreon polls as well. Just has not won yet, but I mean, we're getting there. Did you play Spider-Man 2, the movie version, on the older generation consoles? I did. As a matter of fact, I did a playthrough on this channel. Let's see if I can find it. I also did a playthrough of the old, like 2000 Spider-Man game. Oh yeah, I did this. Yeah, I did a retro review. This is when I was doing more like game content. Holden, what are you doing? Here, I'm pulling it up here. Yeah, when I was trying to do like some more game content, or a lot of it was like determining how long it would take me to like actually make those and produce them. So I did a playthrough of the Spider-Man 2000 on PS1. I did a this is back in 2017, so this is a while ago. I found all the comics in Spider-Man 2000 on PS1 and like showed all the locations. I did Enter Electro, the sequel, and I did the full gameplay of Spider-Man 2, the game. I don't even know if this is monetized. Spider-Man 2. Yeah, so that's the gameplay I did. And then here is more interesting, in my opinion, anyways, the all comics from Spidey PS1. Okay. Not that anybody asked for that, but it's there if you want it. Jen did not see the Electra movie. No. I would love to see the Amazing Spider-Man 3 where Black Cat is in it and Chameleon is the main villain. I think Chameleon would be perfect for Andrew Spider-Man. Yeah, we've never actually seen the Chameleon. Chameleon, if they were to do a Chameleon, I personally, I would like to see them do something more like espionage type of stuff. Like there's so much that you could do with somebody that literally can shapeshift into somebody else. And in the comics and in that Spider-Man game as well, there were several times where the Chameleon impersonated Spider-Man and had him do like all these horrific things, and was one of the reasons that the whole city turned against Spider-Man, because they were seeing Spider-Man rob people or steal from people or whatever. So a lot of really creative things that are outside of just Spider-Man fights tough guy or Spider-Man fights tough villain. There's room for more like head games and stuff, which I would like to see. It's one of the things I really liked about Spider-Man Far From Home with Mysterio is that he's not just like fighting a strong character. He's there's that whole sequence where he's fighting illusions and things. Tyler Adams, hey Tyler, I was just talking about you. Tyler did some of the VFX in the Vader short film. He did the Palpatine stuff. Looking forward to the Batman Arkham Shadow VR game. Well, I don't have a Quest 3. I do have a Quest 2, but I don't know if it's going to be compatible. I'm guessing not if they specifically said 3. But I did love the Arkham games. But I don't know if I don't know if it's enough to entice me to buy a Quest 3 though. Um, some versions of Chameleon, he's just a guy with masks for disguise, which could work for an espionage plot. Yeah, I don't know how they would do it. I feel like I would rather like a physical transformation, like we would actually turn into somebody. I don't know. I think what I'm saying is that I think there's a lot of potential for a Chameleon as maybe not a primary villain, or if he is a primary villain, like a good secondary villain. What's up, Holden? You're killing it, bro. Thanks, man. Appreciate that. Chameleon was in Far From Home. He was the bus driver. Yeah, they also had Shocker that was in I think Homecoming briefly. Shocker, you can't escape me. Would you rather direct a Spider-Man movie with Sony or direct a Star Wars film with Lucasfilm? Oh, geez. Probably Spider-Man. Yeah, I love Star Wars, but that's an uphill battle across the board. That's an uphill battle with the universe building in a way that the studio approves. Star Wars fans are so hard to please. So like, even if I made it the way I wanted or thought was best, you're still never going to get everybody versus like, I love Spider-Man probably just a little bit more personally anyways, as well as the fandom isn't quite as rough as the Star Wars fandom is. They can be rough too, but there's a little bit more love to go around. All is not totally lost with Spider. Like we have our Morbiuses and we have our Madam Webs that cause us to stumble a little bit, but there's still so much like that can be taken still. Which villain do you think Sam Raimi would have used in future sequels if he never stopped making Spider-Man films? I think about that a lot. We know about Vulture, but I often wonder who else. Yeah, I know he would have done Vulture. I think that he would have. I think that the formula probably would have changed too. That by Spider-Man 3, there was this formulaic like villain becomes evil. Peter's dealing with some sort of personal or internal conflict. Mary Jane gets kidnapped and serves as just this damsel in distress type. And then Peter Parker has to go save her from the villain. And in Spider-Man 3, this was studio interference. They answered that change of pace by having just more villains kind of doing those things at the end. So I think that had Spider-Man 4 come along with Vulture, I think we would have seen probably a departure from that in general. So as far as like what villains would have come further along, I think that he wanted to do a Mysterio at some point, and there was talks that maybe Bruce Campbell's character since Spider-Man 1 was Mysterio, or Chameleon for that matter. But so I don't know for sure. It would be totally speculation. We know for sure he wanted to do Vulture. Christian Movac, how's it going, man? Hi, Holden. Did you see that Star Wars Theory reacted to your video last night? He's very critical of Star Wars stuff, but overall loved your fan film. Yeah, I really appreciated that. Some people were asking, I think he mentioned too, like why we didn't use Anakin, like an Anakin lookalike, to be the light side, whatever. Two reasons for that. One is that I wanted to do two Vaders fighting. The initial idea was having two Vaders fight, and I had access to two Vaders, so that's something I could have feasibly done. Secondly, if I were like making it for Disney and I had access to Hayden Christensen, I probably would have gone that route. But I didn't want to look alike because it takes away the feeling of it being potentially a canonical event. So like two Vaders, even though a lot of people said one of them, the light side, didn't look as good, it's still a second Vader versus like, okay, this is a cosplayer pretending to be Anakin. This isn't Anakin. So like all the characters that we had in the short film were unique or were original characters like Vader, or even a character like Palpatine. We had the the mask to make him look as accurate as we could. Had we had a cosplayer be Anakin, I think it would have just solidified, okay, this isn't actually real. And I wanted it to feel like as close to real Star Wars as possible, if that makes sense. Lizard. Oh yeah, so yeah, Lizard was one villain he wanted to see as well. They had set up Kirk Connors for Lizard as well. And I think Connors was going to be in four. I think four was he was going to do Lizard and Vulture. But yeah, I know he did want to do him. I can still buy the theory that Bruce Campbell was Quentin Beck in the first three movies. Yeah. Godzilla X Kong is on digital. Yeah, I got a couple people let me know that too. I might go ahead and wrap it up here, guys. Been on for about an hour and a half now. Jen should be getting home soon. Oh, good. Devin just texted me. So we did a filmed kind of a behind the scenes of the Star Wars short film. Mostly, it's kind of about how we made it with very limited to no resources to help encourage some of you guys that are would be filmmakers or would be people that want to make shorts and whatnot, and kind of what we had to do and some of the problem solving that we did, and how it's within grasp. There, as impressive as the Star Wars short film that we did, I'm not trying to pat ourselves on the back or anything, but just like in the sense that this is something that probably could not have been made 20 years ago by just random people. Everything that we did is a feasible and achievable thing, even without having to spend thousands upon thousands of dollars. I mentioned earlier, talking about the budgets, we did, I would have guesstimated about 20 to 20, I was about to say 20 to 30,000, about $2,000 to $3,000 total from start to finish. We started in like 2022 to now 2024. So that wasn't all at once. That was little bit by little bit. And look at what we made for that. So the prospect of having more would be great. But if you're like, man, I really want to do these really cool things and I just can't, you can. And one of the things that we talk about in that video I'll be editing a little bit later is how we did that and why we chose some of the things that we chose to do. A lot of the some criticisms that we got are like, we kind of agree with, but I don't have that Disney money, guys. I got 3 kids in the house, 1 baby money, and I can't make any money on the project either. So it's literally just, I'm making it so the money can burn, So, no, TJ, she's not at work. She's running a couple of errands. So yeah, hopefully it's encouraging. I would love for you guys to make your own short films. And there's so much that's just like, it can be daunting. And one of my strengths, if I can, one of my strengths is I'm very like, I'm very pragmatic in the sense that I believe that you can do these things. A lot of people can get down on themselves and dog on themselves, and when they compare themselves to other shorts films or other filmmakers, it can be hard to be like, well, I can't compete with that. And I just totally reject that that mindset. I'm just fully just like, I'm just going to do my best. I'm going to make what I want to make, and hopefully people will like it. I do keep the audience in mind. It's not just a purely selfish, selfish in that regard. I want people to like it, but I don't want people. It's easy to get discouraged, and I want to be a voice saying you don't have to be discouraged. And it's not toxic positivity here. I'm just saying that these are practical, realistic things that you can do. Yeah, so that you can do. So anyway, I just want to give some of that encouragement for people who want to maybe make their own shorts or have tried and it didn't go so well and whatever else. Tyler Adams, how about an original film next? I would love to. Tyler, you going to help me, man? Let's do it. Tyler and I, we've been trying to get a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles thing going for a little bit, but hopefully one day, Tyler. I would love to do that. Original film, yeah. I did the last original I did was the Little Alien short film, which I loved, but in this grand scheme of YouTube, originals don't do all that well because nobody cares. But I still want to do them, so I still make them. But yeah, I would love to do an original. Don't measure yourself from someone else's success. Very true. Need any help on the team for future stuff? Of course, man. Always looking for help on stuff. Absolutely. Hey, any of you guys that are talented like that can do VFX stuff. There was at one point I actually did a call out for, it was like anybody for the Little Alien, as a matter of fact, and before I shelved it temporarily. I did a call out for anybody that can do VFX or animation, and had a few people come in, and just we didn't really didn't happen. And then fast forward a little bit, I found one animator, Isaac Hicks, who was just exactly what I was looking for, and luckily he humored me, and we were able to get that made, and I was very happy to do that. Horror, Tyler, man, I'm down for whatever. I would love to do. I would do horror. I would do. I would love to do. I'm going to finish my my documentary that Jen and I started. We've already filmed a good portion of it, so it's just we have a couple other things to film, and there's a couple of VFX things we need to do, but it's not nearly as much as what was on Star Wars. So great job to all the VFX guys. Devin did outstanding. I know I said it in the comment, but he really elevated the whole project beyond what I thought we could do. Jordan says, I'd love to see a TMNT fan film from you. It's my dream to write a theatrical TMNT film, but a fan film would be somewhat less restrictive. We even did test footage. We shot a scene. Like we did a little bit for it, and Tyler was importing, doing some motion. We did a little motion capture-esque stuff, and we shot a whole scene where we replaced an actor with Raphael the turtle, and a couple other things too that we've done. And it's out of my skill purview, so I would have to rely on Tyler or Devin or somebody. And Tyler typically is like the best at doing the mocap stuff. So hopefully we can do that. I would love to do a little bit of stuff with The Last Ronin myself. I think that for one thing, it's currently relevant. It only focuses really on one turtle at a time, so that's less VFX that we have to do instead from one turtle to four, just one. And there's some fun stuff that we could do in that. That's just my suggestion. But honestly, beggars can't be choosers. Whatever I can do, I will do. I'll do, and I'll do it well. What did Matt think about your Vader fan film? Yeah, so Matt was like test screening it from the beginning. Like he was watching like all like the pre-rendered crap, like before anything's fine-tuned, polished, before all the visual effects, before sound effects were put in. He was watching it, and he thought it was great. I mean, he hates Star Wars, he says, admittedly, but he was really impressed. So I was happy. Matt, I'm actually helping Matt with finishing up pretty much a feature-length thing that he's doing right now. It's really impressive. I shot a couple of scenes for him for that, and so I think I'm gonna help him kind of get to the finish line. I mean, he's pretty close, but I think he just needs a little oomph with editing help. So I think I'm gonna help him cross the finish line. Let's see. Shrek 4, hopefully soon. I do want to finish that. Can you do Patreon goals for films? Jameson says, yes, you can. And I'm not opposed to even crowdfunding. The only issue is when it becomes like IP, Star Wars, Turtles, whatever, is that it can get really, really murky with trying to crowdfund something like that. So that would be, now granted, I don't know enough about it. I know Star Wars Theory kind of got in trouble for trying to crowdfund his Vader thing. So that would be my only hesitation. But if I wrote like a TMNT script with Tyler or something, and we actually like broke down how long it would take to film, we had like cast and whatever, and we were like, dude, this is going to be like $20,000, $20,000 or $30,000 if we really wanted to do it well. And then I was like, let's try and raise that. I mean, that to me, that sounds so out of reach, because that's just, I can't even imagine. But if that's something that we were able to do, and that was a little bit of a plan for a while, to actually bring Tyler down here, we were talking about doing that so he could basically VFX supervise, and actually have a budget to do it all properly. I would love that. I couldn't even imagine. I have no idea what I would do, guys, if we were like, you know what, let's just see. That's one of the reasons we did test footage, was to try and like pitch, hey, here's how we can kind of make stuff look. That's one of the reasons we had that, to kind of pitch like, here's very little of what we can do. If we had more of a budget, here's what we would want to create, and you guys are kind of a part of it. I just don't know, like legally would be a concern. Even if we could, I wouldn't be opposed to it. I couldn't imagine, man, $30,000 to create any short film, really. Yeah. So I'm down for it. What comic book event would you want to see as a film? I think Blackest Night trilogy would be cool. Oh yeah, I actually read Blackest Night. What comic book event would you want to see as a film? Well, I just came off the tail end of reading Daredevil and Elektra, the Red Fist saga. It's about a 14 comic run, and I loved that. I loved that story that they did. So I wouldn't mind seeing something like that in like a live action format. But that's pretty fresh on my mind too. Uh, James Couch, hey Holden, can you help me with my movies? I'll write the script. Can you help me film my movies? Yeah, hey man, if you got the resources, honestly, I would love. Yeah, see, if I was a billionaire, I would fund season 3 of Raised by Wolves. Yeah, if any of you guys are billionaires and you want movies made, reach out to me, man. I'll get it made. Uh, you know, but we're still having fun. We're still having a good time, and we're still making stuff. Um, you know. So anyway, guys, I think that's about it. I've been on here for an hour 45 now. It's about a movie length, and I'm gonna go do a couple things. I'm gonna try and edit the behind the scenes Star Wars stuff. And Devin texted me saying he filmed his portion. I wanted him to talk about his working on the VFX and working with me. Hopefully, he has good stories. Hopefully good stories. But we'll see. But that's it for now, guys. Thank you all to everyone who did all the super chats. Thank you for all the questions. Hopefully I answered everything. I know I can kind of stutter and mumble and whatnot. It really does take a lot of editing to make me look presentable in these videos. But thank you guys so much. Peace, everyone. I appreciate it. I hope you all take care. Have a good one, everyone. All right. See ya.